Greetings everyone, my name is Ethervil, and welcome back to my Let's Play of Mega Man Maker. In this morning live stream, I'll cover a combination of both various mid-levels and levels I find online, but primarily the former. If you want one of your levels to be featured, please leave its level ID either on YouTube, Twitch, or Mixer. Either will do. Please submit no more than 2 levels at a time, as I want to cover levels made by multiple authors. And if you submit more than 1 level, I reserve the right to reorder your future stages. So let's begin with this stage, Dr. Christian Castle Stage 2 by SodaPop64 with 15 plays and a score of 1. Once again, like last week, I'm using the mod Super Mega Man Maker, which was designed by Lozov and Dr. Riley. Or rather, Lozov and Radwin Fuad. So welcome to stream YouTube, Jedog, Mr. Lee, Buster, Sylveon, Iwumi, Pixel Boy, Random Matt, Christian, and anyone else who I missed, as well as all the lurkers. Eventually I need to set up alerts and donations, maybe. Hi Jerryman. And Mr. Probably get Streamlabs set up. Boy, today and tomorrow, and maybe the early part of Monday are gonna be busy. There are several Let's Tries I want to record of 5 or 6 different games. One of them is fairly obvious, 30XX. The other, not so much. I swear this section feels familiar. One moment, please. I swear that introductory section I covered before, in a different stage. That must be a coincidence, because this is not familiar. Thank you, Jedok. This stream will run for about 90 minutes to 2 hours. We'll see. Oh, by the way, tonight, I'll be covering Rajol's level pack. And next week, I'll be covering the level pack by Snivy. Sure, Iwumi, that's fine. Hey, Jaden. Whoa. Both shaved there. Oh, by the way, before I submit a stage, please check out my all levels covered list in the description below. I won't answer that question, Pro. That's good to hear. Your second question, Pro, yes. Even though I may not sound like it at times, I'm happy. That's what I was worried about. Right. Following traditional castle format. So a happy RM then, Sylveon. Yep, I will me. Submit in the Discord server so it's easy to pack them together. Feel free to send NSF file replacements, or even SFC. Start with fuel levels random, and work from there. If you're having problems on YouTube, Sylveon, try to stream on Twitch or Mixer. See you, Buster. Sorry about that. A similar place where we'd find replacements for NSF files, I suppose. Oh, by the way, happy birthday, Lipatio! One of the weapons that can pierce through the guard. Oh, by the way, my air conditioning turned on in the background, if you're wondering about the noise. Sadly, they got desynced too much. That's one down. And that's two down. I'm okay to decent for this level. The highlights were the elevator sections. Second up is Mega Man 2 Metal Man Mega Man C Mach 2 version by HUN Rockman aka Jerryman, with 12 plays and a score of 0. This is far from being A+ YouTube. Frankly, there are barely any levels in the Mega Man Classic series which I'd give A+. And to be fair, in terms of level design and the entire game series, I feel Capcom's main strength isn't exactly Mega Man. If I were to cover all their games, maybe until recently. It always feels like there's something a bit not the most polished. Even with 4, which is one of my more favorite titles, it has several issues. Several issues that, even during the time, could have been resolved. Even Rock Force, one of my favorite Mega Man Classic fan games, has its own issues. Favorite form of level design? Could you clarify on that? There are many aspects to level design that you have to take into consideration when making an action platformer shooter like Mega Man. You mean this? You mean the ball springs, Pro? How did it turn off every single one of your tabs? Isn't that a feature specific to your browser? Unless it crashed your browser too, in which case, yeah, blame the internet. It really sucks. I did, Pro. They're adding bouncing balls, new boss, and new backgrounds. Okay then. Do the classic way. For me, it really depends. The classic design, if overused, can get a bit stale, and there are certain aspects or weaknesses depending on your preferences. Really, though, it depends on the execution. I'd like to see more fan games in the Mega Classic series actually experiment with some non-traditional design principles like Metroidvanias and such, as I feel too many stick too closely to the classic formula, though that is changing thanks to the advent of stuff like the Magmal series, or Magmal EZ and similar. And I feel this was true more in the past, but it's more so with the ROM hacks and fan games. I feel they sometimes, or more often than not, stick too closely to the classic design frame. Without understanding why it was done back then. You'll know it on Twitter, Pro. Sure, Jerry. It should also be on the Discord server. In fact, give me a moment now. There is the link to the mod I'm using, and if following this video and future ones and last week, I'll include it in the description. Forward up is Arsenal Man, Glitch Danger, wait. Third up is Arsenal Man, Glitch Danger, Reload by M Glitch with 29 plays and a score of 14. I don't know, Pro. No one knows yet, other than the devs. Toad Man is easier than Metal Man by far. Oh yeah, it's like a level pack then. If the entire level pack's complete, I'd rather just cover it in its own video or live stream, but if you want me to cover them individually, then that's fine with me too. And also my Let's Play of Unique Harassment is probably going to be delayed due to EZ and the other Let's Plays I need to complete. I have a bad habit of putting too many Let's Plays on pause. If only had more time. For instance, Starship Rubicon, which has been stuck in hiatus for how many years now? 4? 5? The game is basically abandonware now, too. Well, Rockman R isn't the worst thing yet. That's only been delayed for about a year. Then we have stuff like Starship Rubicon, stuck for 4 years, or 5. Then there's Skyforge, which I've lost almost all interest in, but I still recovered all the footage I lost. Which I thought I lost. So probably in a few months I'll have to recombine the footage and that. Rockman R, let's just say editing the footage is going to be a different pain. Especially when I have to draw out at least half of it. Yep, my name. I went through and played the entire game. Well, I sort of skipped one boss battle. That was one of the worst fan games I played on this channel. It took 2 streams and I did not have fun. Wily 2 and Wily 3 were special mentions. There's bad and then there's Rockman R. No, it's worse than that, I will me. El Paizo. El Paizo is the final boss of Z2 Sylveon. I'll eventually play that too, Pixel Boy. Oh, trust me, the Eternal has more sensible level design than Rockman R. More like how not to make a fan game. Along with Mega Man Cal Edit. That sucks a lot too, but that game was cancelled, so... There are bad fan games and games out there which are at least some modicum of fun to play. Rockman R has the bad distinction of both being bad and not fun to play. Yep, I will me. Those are still better than stuff like R. I know there's Rockman R2 out there, but I'm afraid to try it. Plus, I don't see a way I can play it because I don't have to spend money on that. There are many other games, fan games, ROM hacks I want to play. Rock and Roll has issues with balancing. Roll is simply superior to Mega Man in pretty much every category, outside of 1 or 2 stages. Mega Man really needed a faster charging charge shot. but they did handle it better. It's a Dojin soft game. It's a Dojin soft game, Iwumi. Or it's a Dojin game. Yeah, it's a fan game, but you have to spend money to buy it. Yeah, I know. Strange as it sounds, that's why it's limited only to Japan and in-person purchases, I think. I know. Don't ask me why they decided to do that. It's one thing when Toho does it because It's one thing when Toho does it because the creator gave full permission for people to sell their fan games. I'm okay with that. And we're done. Yeah, something like that, YouTube, or a faster charge shot. Another level, well, Rock and Roll did have another level to charge shot, but to be honest, it took too large to charge. This really felt more like a Fortress stage than an actual Roadmaster stage. If you were to just take out the name and call it a Fortress instead, like Arsenal Fortress, I would easily classify it as that. Nonetheless, it was decent. Good work, M-Glitch. Decent work, M-Glitch. Forward up is Weapon Capsule Relay All Bomb Robot Rush Edition The Return by YouTube Social HD 2 with 10 plays and a score of 3. I say to first design the levels in Mega Man Maker Paint and then port them over to Megamix. But I really want more people to actually use the Mega Mix engine. You know the drill by this point. I won't repeat my spiel about this level series. The main problem isn't so much the damage it deals, well, that's part of it. The problem is how much damage it deals compared to how much time it takes to charge up. And in that game, especially against boss battles, it's better just to use regular shots, not charge shots, because of the lower iframes they have. Now, if bosses had more iframes, then yeah, charge shots would be more worth it. I'd either buff up the damage a charge shot deals, or if I want to bounce the way I'd probably fix it is by increasing the charge shot speed. If I increase the damage, it would kind of break the enemy sections. Exactly, Mai, that's how I'd fix it. I'll go over them Iwumi once I get to them. The main problem I saw is that they don't really focus on a set of challenges. It doesn't necessarily need to be level gimmicks, but it could also be certain enemy challenges, weapon challenges, etc, etc. Yeah, like what Jaden said. You didn't really focus on a set of particular challenges. Exactly, Sylveon. I have said some erroneous things in the past, saying that every stage in Mega Man Maker needs to have a specific gimmick. When I say I used to mean level gimmick, but what I really meant to say back then, which I'm going to correct now, is a certain set of challenges. Doesn't need to be level gimmicks, for example, like the Shaman platforms, springs, etc. It can also be a certain set of enemies, like flying enemies, water enemies, jumping in and out of water, two whirls, or even stuff like focusing on a different weapon, like the Firestorm, aiming the Commando Bomb, etc. Remember, enemy-based challenges aren't necessarily better or worse than level element-based challenges. If a game has a level gimmick, it doesn't necessarily mean it's better, nor worse. It did focus on a specific set of challenges, however, like it did actually have a set of challenges it was focusing on, though it could have been made more precise. That's why I marked it as being an okay to decent stage. And don't feel afraid to mix up multiple level challenges together. Like what Croby said, you can focus on water, but you can also focus on something else combined with it. Make it so that the challenges make sense together, in some fashion. Unless you're trying to design a random stage, but that's a whole different beast. Yeah, that can work too. An underground volcano. Like you start with an ice stage, but it's next to a volcano, which is possible in real life, and so the meltwater is the water section. Yeah, that works too. There are many ways you can combine gimmicks in a sensible fashion. That's why they're called bomb stages, YouTube. Creative, or at the very least, novel. A power plant taking place in the forest, or is using bioluminescence. True. Exactly, Jaden. And of course, we have all these fantastical settings too that you can utilize. I mean, Mega Man's on the more cartoony side, so it having to be realistic is not really important. Even when it was more serious, trying to be more serious, like the X and Zero series. Even when I tried to be more serious with the X and following series up until Legends, there's still a lot of, to be honest, goofy stuff, or stuff that doesn't really make sense in real life, but works because of the more fantastical setting. Yeah, Croby, that's the main challenge of the Wily Forter stages. Recombining gimmicks from previous stages, recombining challenges from previous levels, that's a legitimate challenge in its own right. You know, for a Weapon Capsule stage, this was actually one of the better ones. It tried differentiating a bit more. See, for example, Weapon Capsule levels can be their own challenge. They just need to be executed in a novel fashion and developed on further. See Gokuless' Palace stages, or even Luigi 1000's Capsule stage. Fifth up is Evil Twins Medium Hard by NightCurseX with 9 plays and a score of 2. Exactly, Redacted. There are many ways of making level ideas. That goes also to one of my other gripes of... maybe not gripes, but one of my observations of Mega Man fan games and ROM hacks. I'd like to see them explore lesser used elemental teams. We already have a lot of fire, water, earth, electric based roadmasters. I want to see less common ones like light, more specific plant types, animals, maybe some chemicals, etc, etc. Use less common teams is what I'm saying. Mega Man 3 and 5 tried doing this, not to the best fashion. Mega Man 3, 5, and 10. Yeah, exactly, Sylveon. I'm surprised Eggman was able to do it before Wily. That too, Imumi. That exists in Megamix. Oh yeah, we need more of those ancient side stages, not just from the pyramids though. Now don't get me wrong, I like Pharaoh-Man, but I want stuff like an Aztec Man or something. Which is why I'm happy we had stuff like Indonesian Artifact. That tried to be different with its ruins. Or if you want to be more creative with your elemental teams, make an Element Man stage, where the stage's main challenges involve fire, water, electricity, and earth. We already have an Element Man in Battle Network 6, so reuse him. I can't backtrack now. Oh well. To be quite frank, I was too harsh on Indonesian Artifact during my first Let's Play. Most of the problems I had were due to my incompetence, really. Well, at least half of them. That's why if I were to rate it again, I say it's decent 0.5. Especially after watching Jupi's playthrough. Decent 0.5 though was good. Also, version 1.1 of Unique Harassment fixed some of my major problems with the game. Although it made the Wily machine a bit too easy. This was a fun stage too. Decent work, NightCurse. Decent 0.5 would be more like a 6.5. Almost good would be around the 7-ish. I don't like to assign exact scores to ROM hacks because I tend to have more fuzzy ratings of it. That's why I use more generic terms like okay, below par, subpar, above par, decent. That's why. Because decent 0.5 or almost decent roughly corresponds to 6, but not exactly. Ah yes, Crash 6. Oh, don't worry, when I come out with my list of rankings for fan games and ROM hacks, the rough rankings, there'll be enough of a probably small tinders for that, then we can argue. Because I know some people are going to take issue with some of my rankings, especially R&R and Dr. Wily's Final Attack. Oh yeah, there are a lot of interesting ideas from Rock Force, especially with the Puzzle Masters. 6th up is Nature Snake Warehouse by Next101X, with 15 plays and a score of 1. You know, that brings me to my next quote-unquote complaint about the series, the classic games, more so with fan games actually. I feel they focus a bit too much on the Wily plotline, or Very Evil Scientist plotline. In a world as big as a classic series, which is going through a major technological development with all the new RMs, and automated systems. Why isn't there more focus on, for example, random criminals or criminal organizations? I mean, they could develop their own roadmasters and use them to commit their own crimes, and then Mega Man and friends are sent out to stop them. I think the Archie comics somewhat dealt with that, but I'd like to see some fan games where Alchemax deal with that. Where, for example, some criminal gangs develop or steal some RMs in order to commit financial crimes. Sure, you can have Wily be mentioned there as being in prison, or have it so that Wily built the RMs in the past as a contractor, like he sold Roadmasters deliberately built for criminal organizations, and Mega Man sent out to stop them. I'm okay with that too. I mean, it makes logical sense in a world as big as Mega Man. You would have multiple criminal organizations trying to take advantage of new technology. You're the same person, Sylveon. And Mega Man 6 sort of dealt with that too. You're right about that. Those arms were built for a robot fighting competition. 4 also sort of dealt with it, but he was also a scientist too. But I want to see more stuff like 6, where you have RMs built by individual contractors, or individual people, but instead of just individual for good meaning, for a better purpose, for evil purposes. One of the many things I'd like for a change for X7. Going back to the idea of Mavericks from before X1, of how even criminals could be Mavericks, which I wish was explored more in the X series too. Some people said this before and I'll repeat it. Until the Zero series and maybe until the Zero Battle Network and Legend series, the story of Mega Man games wasn't good. It was okay at best. For Classic it was okay because for the most part it was excuse plots, but for X it wasn't really excusable, especially when we got to the X4, X5 and such. The lore in Mega Man, however, is good, but it really needs to be explored more, which comics like the Archie comics did. See for example the Rehabilitation arc. 7th up is Space Travel 4 Part 5 Blomag Normal Hard by Lipatio, with 24 plays and a score of 13. That's one of the sad aspects. That's one of the things that make me sad when playing the Mega Man games up until Legends in the main verse, not the Battle Network verse. The stories aren't really that formulated well. There's so much juicy lore that fails to be capitalized on outside of fan works. And when I say fan works, I mean mainly fan fictions and fan art. I want to see them explored more in fan games and vids. That too, Iwumi. I'd like to see that, Randomet. Please explore more of the Mega Man Classic verse outside of Wily. And outside of Kozak too. Exactly, Sylveon. Add that to the list of good ideas. I think we already had the reverse. I want to see this one. Long story short, there are many ideas in Mega Man which, for some reason or another, maybe laziness, maybe wanting to stick too much to traditional stuff, aren't really explored. But by this point they really should, after so many games in the series. Or even RMs or stages. Now I get it, I like tradition as much as you do, but at a certain point I like novelty too. Hearing the same ideas repeated ad nauseum makes them more and more boring. Yep, Croby, I saw it. Oh, don't get me wrong, Woomy. See, in Mega Man 11, I'm gonna point out something else too. I know, this is becoming lore talk, sorry. I like what Capcom did with the backstory of 11. It went further into Wily and Light's past. Not only that, it kinda showed Light as being somewhat of a jerk at the start, or didn't think that much of a future enough. At least in the past. Exactly. I mean, Mavericks by this point should have families. Or something along the lines of family. It doesn't have to be an exact analog. The manuals did somewhat a decent job explaining the story, but at this point I want them integrated to the games themselves. Oh, okay. Yep, these are some neat challenges. Lipatio has learned over the years how to make better stages. One of the biggest issues, which was put on big display during their level pack, was they packed their levels with too many unrelated challenges and made them too long. But they learned from the lessons, and now they've become much more concise and more focused. Okay. Like many things in Mega Man, it really depends on how they're used. Yep. I don't know why they restrict that. Oh, in some cases it does make sense, but in others... why? By the way, I will eventually get back to Mega Pony. I need to finish the extra mode. Assuming I can. Whoa, that was scary. I died and get shunted off screen. Again. It isn't, but it was a good idea. Plus, most fan games don't allow you to do that anyways. For some reason. Oops. Thank you for putting the checkpoint here. I see what I need to do now. Slowly get me down. Good. The easy button. Yeah, I'd like to see harder run versions for stages like that. Take it nice and slow. And I was hoping I'd get past, but no, that's not gonna work that way. 3 months and most of it was testing. Yeah, and it shows how they made within 3 months the issues. Frankly, I feel Mega Man 7 is overhated, and I was too harsh on it earlier. It's okay to decent. It could have been so much better if they had more time, such as a year. Really? I was holding down. One of the tougher stages. Depends on how you set them up, along with most other challenges. I mean, regular Yoku blocks can act like Yoku spikes in this engine anyways. See, telefragging? Yeah, they won't use that much. We go here. Oh no. This is where I kind of wish there was a checkpoint. In retrospect, that wasn't too bad. Checkpoint was right here after all. Decent challenge, although I'd probably smooth out the difficulty curve a bit. Whoa. They were in effect Yoko blocks, however. They didn't? Didn't the Wily Fortress have... Well, I may be misremembering, I'll check. Artificial sunsets, so... they're more like controllable Yokus. Or more like the sun platforms in Rock Force. You know, the ones in... not this stage. Solar Man stage. By the way, it's Lipatio's birthday today. Oh no. Really? Hey, Gokuless. I honestly prefer the original Phantom 6. These are much more violent. As in, their acceleration is pretty high. I see. Meanwhile, getting hit by absolutely everything. The level. Oh, if you say so, Daibuman. I find this audience charming. So close, took too much damage. Really, the only thing I'd probably want from the chat would be more people. Also, having a better computer so I could stream more stuff. Whoa, yeah. Undead memes. As long as they're not spamming, it's fine. This level is designed for average to somewhat more skilled Mega Man Maker players. Especially, this is why I wish there was a saying in Mega Man Maker to reduce the violentness of these fans. That's why out of all the gimmicks in Mega Man Maker, these tend to rank lower. I'm stumbling over my sentence here because of how much rage they've generated to me in the past. Hi Rajold, your level pack will be covered tonight. Good luck with this engine. I'd rather just jump it. Especially when stuff like this can happen, where if you're just slightly off, the fan will send you careening into the spikes above. It's doable, but you need to get the timing down. Go right ahead. All jokes are allowed, as long as they don't violate the PG-13 rules, and the other rules set in the Discord. Using dead memes is fine. Ah, you. I'd reverse the order of these challenges. This is easier than the previous one. See what I mean? Fans. To be honest, if tornado platforms are eventually added to the game, I think they'd be less frustrating. They'd be less frustrating than this. Ah yes, the weekly rant of Mega Man 9. As to be expected in this channel. If I keep getting stuck here, I'll just use the level editor to put myself ahead. This is not really... I get what the challenge is for, I just don't agree with how exactly this engine sets up things. Yep, Proto. It's not so much how fast they push you upwards, it's their acceleration. Your mileage may vary on what level design is preferable or not. Also, if I jump, it reduces the acceleration going upwards. See what I mean? Why isn't there an E-tank for this? The spines make this worse because of how many spawn in. Ah, I'm out. And I'm dead because no checkpoint. I don't actually mind the spines as much, but I'm beating a dead horse now. I'll stop. If I simply walk to the right, the acceleration will take me upwards more easily. Okay, we're out of here. Please put no more spikes here. Well, not really spikes, I'm just worried more of fans. So we're out. Hardest part of the stage, by far, somewhat a difficulty spike. Let me catch up on the messages, what happened. Oh, you watch BSC too, Jaden? And that's never asking for much. Even making a decent, okay to decent stage is harder than it looks. I mean, look at the most popular queue, for a good example, or most of the levels submitted to Mega Man Maker. Do other players say it's too difficult? Or did they say it's not fun? What are they saying, specifically? Yeah, they are pretty fun, random. Last time, it ended up being on the favorites list, or honorable mentions. Ouch, again. They aren't memorable, That's the thing. Sometimes, some stages, even if they're better than others, they aren't necessarily more memorable. Rats. Remember, even if a stage is more memorable, it doesn't necessarily mean it's higher quality. Gee, thank you. Me true. I'm dead. Okay, perfect freeze it. Ah, we made it. Hardest stage yet in Space Arrow 5, much harder compared to 4. Exactly, Daibuman. What is memorable depends on really your life experiences. Same with some of what you find fun or not fun. I mean, if you were to ask me what are my most memorable experiences in video gaming, it'd probably be the most fun and not fun. I mean, I still remember the first time I played I Want to Be the Guy, and well, that's not because I had fun. Well, if you're trying to make your levels more fun, Croby, it's more easy to make them more memorable. Just know what your audience is looking for. I can get myself up. I can keep myself in the center. There we go. Mega Man 5's main sin is it's blandish. Stone Man is a good example. It's simultaneously memorable. I like the levels. I like the aesthetics and music, but it's most of the game along with it is forgettable. Best level design, but bland, boring-ish. Which is a shame because I like the more non-traditional ideas. Wait. Along with a few other things, Jaden. Yeah, a good example of that would be Gravity Man. Seriously, flipping gravity? That was so underutilized in the game, but it has so much potential of combining with basically every single gimmick beforehand and in the future. Jedok, can you resubmit your level ID while I cover this stage? There was a technical issue. Well, it was in several screens, Croby, but it should have been used more in that stage alone in the rest of the game, and probably reused in the future games. Again, there are some gimmicks in the Mega Man series which have so much utility, I'm surprised they haven't reused it. Gravity is one of those things that has much more universal appeal compared to something like for example, Shadow Man platforms, or springs. Well, maybe not springs, but Shadow Man platforms, or even most platformer types. Most platforms in Mega Man have more specific purposes, but stuff like maybe springs and gravity, more universal stuff. Because changing the gravity affects your jump height and various other factors. Eighth up is Frozen Heart Odyssey by Random20XX with 36 plays and a score of 14. Yeah, another example is Guts Man platforms. Ooh. The Crash Man platforms, yeah, I like them more. They're simpler, yes, but trying to time the jumps, especially in Mega Man 1, that wasn't fun. Plus in Mega Man 1, they were introduced horribly. Why were they introduced over a bottomless pit? Especially with the precision involved. One of the many reasons why Mega Man 1 is one of my least favorite Mega Man Classic games. The numbered ones, I mean. And no. Well, let me preface it. In my opinion, Mega Man 8, although it has its issues, it's better than Mega Man 1. For one, it's better balanced and much less glitchy. Oh. I never played Portrait of Ruin. I only saw that video by Picaspri, but it doesn't seem to fit. Why did the reverse water never come back up? Well, I know the answer to that. You mean Mega Man 8, Christian? New time stopper? That's exactly the change I'd apply to a time stopper, being able to toggle it on and off, so I approve. Mega Man 11's voice acting is what I'd say legitimately fine. It isn't the best, but it's passable now. As in, I'd unironically say it's fine. Not 9.5, but at least a 7. Maybe 6.5 if you want to push it. I would eventually cover the Castlevania games, but I'm already flooded with all the other games in my list. Not to mention the 100 plus games on the Epic Games Store and Steam. I mean, eventually I do want to play Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, and Curse of the Night, and Blaster Master 0, 1, and 2. Hot take, there should be more evolutions by this point. Wait a minute, we had a summer boss after this before. Easy. Now, if Chill Penguin was one block lower, however... Alright, I'll be right back in a moment. This was a decent stage. Today, most of the stages are around the closer to quality. Alright. Alright, I'm back. As I promised earlier, I'm not gonna showcase stuff made by Croby, the updated version of the mod from earlier. So let's place down some tiles. Changes are indicated by the eye over here. Okay, let's put this down here. And now start placing some of the new enemies. Well, there's only really two changes made. First is Cutman. I think first is Cutman. Looks about the same to me. Yeah, slightly better Cutman. But the main difference I've seen is with Toadman. As you can see, Toadman is much more dangerous this time. Well, as long as you can get him jumping. If you keep him stuck in a pattern like this, he's still a cinch. That still hasn't been fixed yet. This acid can hurt you, by the way. Now, if he always throws the acid, then yeah, he's more dangerous. And so that's the only two changes I have to show for now. There may be some more tile changes, but these are the more major ones. Oh yeah, and these are called Neomets. Let's see if there's any other new stuff. I would like to keep the original enemies too, if possible, and add these as additions. I know that, for example, the colors of some of these enemies are different. As you can see, we have ones that fire 5 shots now. A more rapid fire one. On that note, Croby, could you make a huge version of the Met? Just for the joke. And yeah, I suppose some of these are supposed to be saved for mini-bosses. But that's the current progress of Croby's mod. Still under development, however. Exactly, please add that Croby in the future. Mini-boss. And if it's all possible, could you program in a giant Mega Man? I know I'm stretching here, but it may be possible. And we're back. I'll do it at the end of the stream, Croby. Exactly like that one. Ninth up is DJHNN-034 Engineer Woman by Jock74 with 26 plays, score 7. To be frank, I would prefer if the original enemies are kept in and the new enemies are added in as new variants, but if that's not possible, I'm still okay with that. Programming in an assembly, or whatever version you're using, is a bit more of a nuisance, so it's fine as a mod. Yep, they're not done yet, Pixel Boy. The graphics aren't in yet. Ask Lozoff or Radwin Fraud about that. Or Radwin Fraud about that. Just to clarify, are you using the Undertaker mod? Are you using the Undertale mod tool? Or is that what it's called? Gotcha. You, Croby, and Radwin. You designed this mod after all. And maybe Lozoff too, because of the graphics. I really need a modder role for my Discord. Here's to hoping the X5 Improvement Project has an official release, as well as the X4 to X6 level editor when it eventually comes out. Go right ahead, the more the merrier. I mean, even technically, Croby's more popular than I am, if we're going by YouTube subscribers. It's still in really early development, Sylveon. Right now, the current development is removing the alien interruptions. I fell for it. They'll probably do it once they fix the more glaring issues. Exactly. To see how they've grown even faster than a lot of our channels. At first, I thought their content was on the more simplistic side with all those compilations, but now going into modding, yeah, they deserve it now. To be honest, I'm sorry to say this, but usually I tend to look down on more compilation channels if they don't really add more content for the simple compilations, because of it usually being lower effort. But you, Croby, you've gone further, actually designing new stuff. I think this is a redesign of a previous stage. Well, you can at least give his name, but just give a warning. Remember, you can post videos of some M-rated games, just make sure to ask us mods first. Ow. Might as well. We're all still learning. For half my channel's history, it was more of a very hobbyist thing, until I started getting all these keys. Now, I'm paying more attention. I mean, for one, Qmail is not working for me, after spending 1 or 2 years in accreditation. Still hoping to get into silver rank. I know the way to get there, but I don't have to stream every day. It is impressive to see people taking no damage, but especially non-taskless, especially non-tasks. But it is rather time-consuming. Now, don't get me wrong, task runs themselves are also pretty impressive. See, for example, Amy Rose and SYNN's channels, especially the latter. But there is charm into seeing no damage runs or perfect runs. See, for example, Kevil and Royal Mitro's channels. Hey Dogs, Snivy, and everyone else coming in. Next up is Frozen HQ Recovery version 2 by Gokuless with 15 plays and a score of 2. That's exactly the point, Daibuman. To show perfection by removing mistakes. I don't really consider that a problem, that's more of a feature. I know, it's designed for a different audience, that's all. Again, they're for different audiences. RTA runs or real-time runs, yeah, you need to be really good. For tasking, it's more of a puzzle. And persistence. Especially when you get into stuff like task-only glitches. That's where the fun really begins. Wall jumping? If you somehow are able to do that, well, it'll be one of the best mods I've played on the channel. For Mega Man, that is. Darn, I wanted that. Go on, Daibuman. I haven't really paid that much attention to the Castlevania fangame scene, outside of 2 or 3 fangames. Oh, you mean quantity? Yeah, I've noticed that. There are a lot, in fact, there are a lot more... In fact, There are a lot more Castlevania-inspired freeware titles than actual fan games. And to be fair, isn't Konami more DMCA happy? Can I cheese it? Yes, I can. Perfect. Okay, not really, that's good. I have played one Castlevania fan game in the past, near past, but I won't discuss it here, as I'm thinking of playing it for one of my future April Fools. Oh, whoa. And I've fallen anyways. The Soul of Dracula, I tried that, but I just found it a bit too... I mainly had some problems with the controls and the level design. The Curse of Iseros, I haven't tried out yet. I said, ow. Jaden, they published the game. They didn't... Well, I get what you say. Skull Attack is an indie game that Konami published. It literally is Greek Castlevania. I mean, it comes from the same developer of Castle Matilda, or Cursed Castillo, which is Spanish Goose and Goals. That developer makes equivalents or freeware versions of a bunch of those classic games. That's more Goose and Goals. There's also that shmup they have, an equivalent to Gradius. Playing as Brobama here was a terrible idea. But as I was saying earlier, I'll mention the other Castlevania fan game I played for the next April Fools. Long story short, what was the name of the third and final Castlevania Metroidvania released for the DS? After Portrait of Ruin? His name escapes me right now. Order of Ecclesia, yes. The last Castlevania fan game I played, which I'll be saving for April Fools, is based on that one. Should have used a shield weapon. And let me tell you, that fan game in question is hard. Get me out of here. I've been trapped in this last section for too long. I should have gone to this base. Ah, we're out of here. Well, I can see why. Oh boy. Rondo Blood was a Metroidvania? I thought that was an exploration platformer. But that's just me. Alright, first order of business, destroy this. Ah, alright. From what I've seen and heard from others online on the playthrough, it looked more like an exploration platformer to me. It was a classic entry, exactly. What's your weakness? Not quite, Jaden. There are multiple alternate routes, so... And levels were bigger. No comment. Semi. Semi is a better term for it. What do you call semi-Metroidvanias are exploration platformers to me, or non-linear. It doesn't quite fit the mold for Metroidvania for me, at least. Yeah, almost Vanias. You can go with that. When they're not quite linear platformers, and we're not quite Metroidvanias. Okay, this seems like a better strat. Metroidvanias didn't used to be a word either. But look where they are now. Look where Perman is now. Frankly, Proto was busted in Frankly, Proto Man was busted and powered up, having the Proto Strike and all that. Well, there's old Joe's, but that's more of a puzzle game anyways. Really? I can do it. I'm almost there. He was a prototype after all. That's one down. Sorry about the delay there. And I didn't even need to use an E-tank there. I know, right? Of all the DLC, they really should have added... I mean, considering how much of a success Mega Man 11 was, I'm surprised they didn't capitalize on it more with Proto Man and Bass. Decent stage, got difficult at the end, more so because I was playing on hard mode. Alright, time to check out some levels on the most popular queue. This wasn't as difficult as the Lipatio stage though. Ooh, the ending. Eleventh up is Hot Cold Mayhem by Glitchy Boi, with 79 plays and a score of 35. I'll cover stages for 10 more minutes, then I'll finish up with Croby's, then end off the stream. Yeah, it was hard to do that in one section. Unfortunately, as I said before, most levels get in the popular queue. The ones that do get there, most of them aren't that good, or even decent. They get there for a variety of reasons. And I was paying attention to chat there. I'll answer your question when I'm done with this stage, Woman. But the answer to your first question is that Dive is freemium. It's a gacha game. Are you aware with gacha games? Oh. Are you aware of Fire Emblem Heroes? Or Fate Grand Order? Or Dragalia Lost? Or even the infamous Raid Shadow Legends? Well, all these games are basically gacha games, although gacha itself is a very broad category. In gacha games, I'm gonna have to open up a definition. I don't want to misstate it. One moment, when I finish the boss. Gacha games are based off the term gacha in Japan, where the main purpose is to collect all the characters, but in order to collect all the characters, you have to spend in-game resources, and one of the ways you can get in-game resources outside of completing the stages is by spending real money, and you don't have a 100% chance of getting the characters. Yeah, loot boxes. Now let me answer your next question. How does it even work? Basically, you go through different stages, clear them under the limits, gain more resources, use them to upgrade your characters, get new weaponry, upgrade them too, and repeat the cycle until you get everything you want. Why are there so many characters? Well, the excuse part of the game is that in some sort of database, server, whatever, there's a huge glitch or series of errors which is causing an intermingling of the various series together. Like stuff in the Zero series mixing together with the X series, such and such. So our job is somewhat of a bug tester, where we enter the game as a unknown nebulous third party. We take on the role of the characters and fight off the various errors in the system. Let me see if I can get the story for X-Dive. I don't usually like to talk about Raid because of being overused, but this is one of the times where it's actually relevant, hilariously enough. I would have played Dragalia Lost if Nintendo didn't keep shutting down accounts if you played on BlueStacks. Okay, I got the story. That's the story. It's an excuse plot, Croby. I know, it's dumb. Twelfth up is I tried to do a surf level and don't pause the 12th up is I tried to do a surf level and don't pause the stage by Wiga M050. 49 plays, score 16. I see why they say don't pause the stage, you die. That was easy. Oh yeah, that was a fun one. And funny enough, in Dragalia Lost, having robots isn't really that out of place. And yes, it is a pretty meta storyline, Dabuman. When it eventually comes to the US shores or global shores, I will cover it. And if we're going to cyberspace, having a -0 doesn't sound that out of place. I'm expecting the Battle Network characters to show up sometime. And there is a Battle Network game coming out in the future. Correction, Jidok, Iris is playable now. Thirteenth up is Clown Springman by Rockman02 with 148 plays, score 67. Blue no. Yeah, I remember seeing that. That intro looked a bit goofy to me. Gesundheit. And one of the more annoying aspects is that each armor is treated as a different character. Down to the gacha setting. the ice floor region, so I think it's Area F. I watched an LP of ZX by Clement. Haven't done it for Advent. Outside of certain meme videos, but... Thanks for all the advice, Jerry Man. Exactly, Pixel Boy. Just a different composition. One more stage, then off to Croby's. 90s. Frankly, all these levels in the most popular queue are worse than the stages already covered. I want to thank you all viewers for submitting the better stages in general. Who knows, Jedok? They may add him in too. We already have Steel Massimo from Command Mission also. 14th up is Wily's Cheese Factory by Brobama with 53 plays, score of 13. Alright. The best part of the stage is the name, from what I've seen from the last 3 screens. Zell's known to produce RMs. Yeah, then suddenly blue screen. I guess this is the section of spoiled milk now. Do you want me to, Rajolt? If not, it's fine. This stage got popular because of its name. That's probably it. Because... really, I don't see any challenge it's designed for. Neither gimmick, level element, or enemy, or weapon challenges. Just the name. Probably the memes. The best part of the stage is a name, nothing more. One moment, I'm bringing up the next mod. So the 15th and final level of the stream is No One Play This Except Ethervil or Cutman Will Murder You by Croby with 5 plays and a score -1. This is using Croby's in development mod, though if you use a different mod or play with the base game, it won't work properly. So like last week, we have the buffed Metools. They really don't need to be this durable, but either Bluefish. Oh yeah, we have top solid conveyor belts now. In fact, we have top solids in general in the game now. Already an improvement. The Magno series already had its feature, so seeing it being ported over to Mega Man Maker, that's awesome. And transmit water. In fact, we have many different top solids, even top solid fans. Get up here, please. Please jump higher. Hello? I swear you can jump higher. Completely invulnerable enemies now. Even before the troll level uses that. Oh! Yeah, these are literally mini bosses. Alright, Cutman, show me what you got. You feel a bit more aggressive than usual. Can you add in the Mega Dragon if you do this? If the devs won't do it, we might as well. I saw a gif of this. Just so I don't cheese the boss, I'll just let him keep jumping. And yet I found a different cheese strat. Still, this makes Toadman more engaging, I guess. Nonetheless, the biggest problem is keeping him in that pattern. Goodbye. Nice developments of what we've seen last week. Now if we can see more changes to the bosses and level design, The most impressive thing I've seen so far is the top solids. Regular top solids, fans acting like top solids, the conveyor belts acting like top solids. This was already possible in the Megamix and Magwell 2 engine, so seeing it backported here, amazing. Keep up the good work, Croby. If you have any more developments, let me know and I'll showcase them next week. So for tonight's stream, I'll be covering Roger's level series, Mega Man Zeta Force. As for my favorite level this stream, I'm not exactly sure what it's going to be. Maybe Evil Twins by NightCurseX or Nature Snake House. I'll determine in post. Well then, thanks for watching and have a nice day.